Yes, it is finally time. We can fully generate a character sheet. Hello, all my JavaScript friends. This is the Virtuoid, aka Mike Smith, and this is our RPG role-playing game. Well, yes, we finally reached the moment where we can roll a character sheet and have it look just like page 3 here. So, like I said earlier, we're going to go through this section one page at a time. This is video number 9, and we're only on page number 3. It may not get much faster than that, but we'll try our best. But now we're going to show you what it will take to create a new character class and to get what you see up on the screen there. So let's go over to our code and very quickly and very briefly go over what we're going to be looking at here. First of all, we have a base class called character. And this is going to basically give us an ID, name, race data, character class data, abilities, attributes, and inventory. And this will allow us to be able to create a character, any character within our supposed world, whether that's a player character like we're going to see here in just a moment, or whether that's a monster, or if that's going to be a non-playing character or a beast of burden, anything, it doesn't matter. So character is going to be our basic class that everything else will extend as we need them. And I'll show you that here in just a second. And this is just a very simple class, as you can tell. It doesn't do much of anything other than what you expect for a simple class. So it's really not a whole lot to go through here. But the idea here now is it does have a couple of very interesting pieces to it. It does have the ability to remove abilities, add abilities, remove attributes, add inventory, remove inventory, things like that. And the inventory is going to be basically all of our equipment, all of our weapons, all of our armor, and all that kind of fun stuff like that. So that's what basically this character class does. The player character class extends it. Now, right now, because the only thing I'm dealing with is just a player character, it doesn't do much of anything except roll these 6 abilities that we have here and then just construct itself. And I'll show you that here in just a second. And that's it. Now, as we get a little further on into this game here, especially if we start getting through some game mechanics, we'll probably end up having to extend the player character class to be a little bit more specific to the player character that we are working with for the players, because it's a player character class. But for right now, it really does not much of anything except for construction. So what we're going to do here is we're going to show you what it's going to take to be able to get this on the screen. And what do we mean by having that look on the screen? Well, that means looking like this. This is our CLI that we have here. This is the same CLI I've been using. Like, we could do roll 3d6 and it will give us, in this case, 8 or something like that. And I explained this in a couple of videos ago, but this is I'll show you how this works to be able to generate a character. And I'm going to show you that, once you create your own CLI or once you create your own interface, you are completely responsible for how that player character is rolled and how that player character is created. So you'll see a lot of hard coding within the generation code. So let's take a look and see how that generation code looks like. I've got a whole section down here called server, which has everything we need for server. The big one we're taking a look at here is the generate character class. And this is, as you can tell, a huge one here because it's got a lot that it's got to do. The idea here is it's going to, let's go all the way down to the very bottom where the actual running part is. It's going to be very, very simple. Is that where is it? There it is. So basically it's going to, I lost it. Here we go. Finally, generate character is where it's going to be what really runs everything. This is the whole schmeal here. The idea here is you're going to be passing it a name, and then we're going to get abilities. We're going to roll abilities. And what do we mean by the roll abilities? Well, that's where we came back to the character class here and roll these numbers. And this is going to get us our 3 different abilities. And that's basically all this roll abilities does. That's it. It doesn't do anything else. But one thing this particular one does here, and let me show you on the screen how that works. Let's generate another character here. Well, same character. First thing it's going to do is, notice here, it's going to, I can actually accept this particular roll or roll 2 more times. I, as the game master, have decided that I will allow my new character to be able to have 3 chances at a roll. If they don't like this roll, this roll is pretty good. It's got a 15 strength and a 16 dexterity. I can accept this roll by typing the letter A, or I can hit roll again. I can roll again. It'll give me another roll. I'm allowed 3 rolls. And that third roll, I got that third roll no matter what. I'm actually going to accept this particular one because it happens to be a very, well, actually, Wisdom, Constitution, and Charisma is pretty bad. So if I was to hit roll, as you can tell, it would roll again. And that's not much better, but we'll go with that one just so we can see what's going on. So if I hit accept, it will then do accept and ask me to do one of the races. And you can see that here on the code. With the roll abilities, I've just got basically wild abilities, and I just do a little simple little rolls remaining, and I just, get the prompt. That's really all there is to it. So that allows me to be able to do, where's the generate again? Here we go. So that's the rolling of the abilities. Next thing we want to do is we want to select the race. And the race, of course, is going to be the dwarf, the elf, the halfling, and the human. Now, what's going to be interesting about the race is that when we select the race, one of the first things we're going to do is we're going to check the ability restrictions. Now, this is the one piece of the puzzle that I didn't really cover too very much earlier, because it really comes into play here. If we go back to some of our databases, let's see, we're in the race database here. So if we go back into our race JSON, for example, and we have we're on the elf one right now. Notice there's a bunch of restrictions here, and these restrictions basically have a type, whether it's ability, hit points, or whatever. And those restrictions are based upon the restrictions that are defined inside the booklet. And we can show you that on the booklet here by going to the full screen. If we go to the races, which is just a couple pages down here, like in elves here, we have all these different restrictions. Same thing here at the dwarves, we have these restrictions there. All of those are automatically figured out and coded inside the database here. In this case, a elf happens to have, you have to have a minimum intelligence of 9. You can only have a maximum constitution of 17, and your hit point rolls are 1d6. And so every race has that. You'll also have that within the character class, which we'll get to here in just a second. But you also have the restrictions. Here's one. Here's restrictions for a simple restriction for the fighter in this particular case. But all this does here in the select race here, we have a restriction class, which is up here. And the restriction class specifically checks for any kind of ability restrictions or hit point restrictions. And it basically tests if is it restricted. It tests, for the ability, armor type. There's a weapon type restriction, sharp weapon restriction, weapon size restriction, and a hit point restriction, and so on and so forth. So it checks all of those particular restrictions for you automatically. So what we do here is we check all the ability restrictions. And the idea here is that if we had a restriction, for instance, we go back to our screen. If we had a restriction, let's say our constitution happened to be a 7, for example. I take that back. Our strength happened to be 7 or less than 9. If our strength is less than 9, we will know that the human, the fighter is restricted. Oh, actually, we're on races. I'm sorry. If we had an intelligence of, I think an elf had intelligence of 9, if I remember correctly. Let's flip back over there here real quick. And yeah, the elf had a minimum intelligence of 9. So if my intelligence came in as 8, then this restriction right here on the restriction ability will flag and say, hey, the elf is restricted. You can't use them. And so what this will do here is this will get me a collection of races that are available to me. Now, it just so happened I was able to get all 4 of them with this particular roll here, so I can just type in a number here and select my particular class. But if I didn't, it would only list out 3 of them. Or I've had one time I only listed out 2 of them before, which was I was testing, and it just gave me an awful roll there. But the idea here is that is restricted gives me the ability to be able to restrict my race and just allow me to get an answer of which particular one I want, 1, 2, 3, or 4 in this particular case. So that's what the select race does. So let's select our race. I don't know, let's just do, since there's some problem is, we're kind of, charisma is a little on the low side. I don't know that's not really there. I don't know. Well, it doesn't really matter. We'll just select human because I happen to be human. So this human could be a cleric, a fighter, a magic user, or a thief. Now this does the exact same thing that this is the character class. It does the exact same thing as the race does, because the next thing we do is after we get the race data, then we select the character class. And when we select the character class, it does the exact same thing. It checks the restrictions for the character classes, pushing in the character class data, and will only give me back the different character classes that are available to me. And luckily, well, not luckily, but unfortunately for this demo here, I don't have a restriction on any of them. I could be any one of these things: cleric, a fighter, a magic user, or a thief. It doesn't really matter. And so this, like the race, this goes through and allows me to select which one I want, and then it remembers it. So we come back to here. We've selected our race and we selected our character class. Let's now take a look at it. What happens after we select the character class? Well, after we select the character class, the thing we do is now we go through each of the different attributes and we start doing the assignments for all the different attributes. This is where some more of the restrictions comes in. So for example, we get the level, on the attribute for the saving throw. If we do a saving throw category on there, the first thing we need to do is we need to calculate what the saving throw is and what the saving throw bonus is. And all of that can be found in both the character class and the, what's a good one here? Yeah, here we go. This happens, I don't know who this is. This is probably thief or something like that. I'm not sure. But here's happens to be the saving throws based upon this particular level for this one. So it takes this is the saving throw bonus. And the saving throw bonus can be found back over here somewhere on there, like page 53 or something, if I remember correctly. So here are the saving throws, and the initial saving throws are figured out from this based upon the different level, and then the bonuses for each of the different races are figured out from there, and the bonuses come in right here. Like for instance, halflings +4 death ray, things like that. All of that is now coded up inside here. Those particular bonuses, these are the saving throws at that particular level, which is the first chart we looked at. But then the different races will also have different saving throw bonuses, and that's recorded there. All of that is inside the generate character, is figured out in this section right here, and we end up with a final value. And you can do, as the manual mentions, you do one or two things. You can use the saving throw and then add this bonus every time you do the saving throw, or you can just subtract the number from the saving throw. I just subtract the number from the saving throw. So that takes care of all the saving throws. So that's how we use the saving throws, both the bonuses and the restriction, not the bonuses, but the base for saving throws and the bonuses inside with this attribute. If the attribute happens to be money, and if we do gold pieces, then we do a 3d6 times 10, which is what the system which is what the manual suggests that we use. And of course, it could be anything you want. And the idea here is that we can do anything you want because you're the game master, so you can program it any way you wish. I just went with exactly what the system said, what the manual said, and it said 3d6 times 10. So I did a 3d6 times 10. Notice I did the equation solve here. We already went through the equation one. So that is gold pieces. And I did a switch here, although all we have is gold pieces. I did a switch because there are different monies that are available to us. Finally, the character attributes are all the different attributes specific to a character. Level always starts at 1, so we push a level. Experience always starts at 0, so we push experience. Armor class, we get the armor by the type, none, because he hasn't bought any armor yet, because there's no equipment, no armor has been bought. You just created yourself. You have no armor whatsoever, so of course your armor class is going to be none. That will allow me to save the armor class. The hit points does check all hit point restrictions, because some restrictions are based upon hit points. I think we have restrictions by yeah, here we go. Here's a restriction. Who is this? Halflings have restrictions that their hit points are always a 1d6. For instance, a fighter might be a 1d8, but if you're a halfling fighter, you're going to be 1d6. Well, all of that is figured out with this check hit point restrictions. And between check hit point restrictions on restrictions, it will always come back with a 1d6 or 1d6 or 1d8 or 1d4 or whatever that 1d happens to be. It automatically gets that, and it will default to what the level data is according to the character class data, because all that level data that we saw earlier has the hit points in there. So we roll the dice, because here we use that dice roll to roll the dice. Then everybody gets a constitution bonus. And so we figure out what our constitution bonus is by finding the ability in our ability list, which we've already rolled our abilities. We now find out what our bonus is for the constitution, and we add that to the bonus. And then we just very simply do value plus constitution bonus. Now, constitution bonus can be negative. We can't have less than 1 hit point. So I do a math max here to make absolutely certain that, hey, if your value plus constitution bonus goes below 1, you're at least going to get 1. So that's just the way it goes there. And finally, attack bonus is based upon the attack bonus screen. Let's see if I can find that one real quick on my system here. Here we go. And so here's the attack bonus. So all of this has also been coded inside of our databases, in this case, the character class database, since we're taking a look at fighter levels, cleric, thieves, and magic users. And so once all of that has been added in there, then we go back over to the attack bonus and we grab that data right here. And once we grab that data, we now have the attack bonus, and that gets us all of our different attributes. We've now set the attributes. So we've set the abilities, we've set all our different attributes, we've set all of our saving throws. At that point, we create the player character by giving it, there's the name, the race, the character class, the abilities, and the attributes. And we're done. Are we done? No, because I want a nice pretty little printout. So I built a little pretty printout here to give, here's the name, here's the race, the character class, the abilities, attributes. I did a nice fancy thing to try to split up the abilities and the attributes. This is the way it's on the screen. And then we print it all out and we're done. And that's basically it. So all we have to do now is just flip back over to our screen. And we're back over here. We had originally had only did one roll again. I rolled something that's, you know, not that very good. I accepted the roll by typing the A. I was a human. What am I going to have this time? Well, I got a pretty good constitution there. That's not going to give me much of anything. I got a strength of 11, intelligence of 10. So let's just be a fighter. Everybody wants to be a fighter. So fighter is number 2. Excuse me, I typed in number 1 there. So fighter is number 2. So I type in 1 for a cleric, 2 for a fighter, 3 for a magic user, and 4 for a thief. Type in 2, and there's my character sheet. There's my name, the Virtuoid. I'm a human fighter. Those are my abilities. Here are my levels, gold pieces, and all my different saving throws. What about equipment? Well, you just got born. You got 130 gold pieces. You need to go out to the store and go buy yourself some equipment. We don't have that available yet. But that's easy enough to do because the character class allows you to add inventory, which will add armor and add shields and add weapons and add backpacks and tents and all that kind of fun stuff, all to your heart's content. But the idea here is that finally, after all this time, we have a character sheet built and ready to go. The next step now is to bring it into the game and sit there and say, okay, I need to buy things. I need to get up my armor. I need to go explore. I need to do different things. I need to have the game mechanics. I need to work with monsters. There's a lot of different things that we still have to go because we're only on page 3 right now. So we're going to be taking a quick little break from this as we get prepared for the rest of our other videos that we're working on. We will be returning to this at a later point in time, but I've got you started with the character sheet. I think the next thing I really want to do is the monsters next, and that may be about a month from now, probably in August. We'll run through the monsters in August, and we'll probably do a video a month after that so I can intersperse that with the other videos. But then again, as you can see on the screen, we have a character sheet. Happy coding. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to this channel to view more videos. Click on the like button on this video and visit us at virtuoid.com. Also, support us on Patreon where you can get access to member-only videos. Links are down below. Again, thank you very much for watching and keep on coding.